welcome back to the Geek Branch podcast. We are going to be doing the Anipolix segment with our one and only Otaku Vaughn.
I think that you may have actually just stole Aniplex. It's Aniflex.
Aniflex.
We got to work on this,
Man,
Tim.
it is what it is.
We workshopped this before we got started.
I'm sorry.
And he's still butchering it, Tim, man.
I know it. I know it.
It's okay, Tim.
All right. So, the topic is how
to pick a genre.
Yep, Otaku edition.
Otaku edition. So, it's coming up year. We have a lot of series going on. As you know, the animated market is flooded with everything from isekai to hentai. And we have to figure out exactly what we want to watch before we invest our time.
One of those our Weeb King watches more than the other.
I'm being for real. There's a lot of it out there right now.
Well, all I'm saying is that one of those people don't decide to watch.
Hey, man, I don't judge. I don't judge. This is a safe place.
Plot.
Justice.
All right. So,
okay. Anyway, before you waste your time, I thought I'd take a little bit of my time to show you guys exactly how you should be picking your genres and your shows. And this can basically go for anything. I basically dwindled it down to like a top 5, but there's other things that go into it. But this guy, oh my God.
He just likes playing with the soundboard.
So basically, it's personal preference when you break it down. But if you see a show that you like, you should look for 5 things, which should be dialogue, character interaction, the power system, world building, and
what if they don't have powers?
Every anime has powers, dude.
Yep.
Even a slice of life.
Yep.
A silent voice. What power do they have?
Talk no jutsu. Like, for real. The power of friendship.
Okay.
The power of making the audience cry.
The power of love.
They have a high level for that. Dear God.
But anyway, top 5: dialogue, character design, premise, power system, and the world that basically your show is in.
World building.
Yes. So when you're picking a show, you should always look for these 5 things, specifically the dialogue, because you can't watch a show that doesn't have good dialogue, no matter what it is. Like we just mentioned, a silent voice. It's mostly dialogue based.
Yeah,
there's a
very
huge story, character interaction, so you have to have character dialogue, and that's like the number one thing when you're picking one of your genres or whatever you want to watch.
Yeah, I'm going to throw an oddball out there. It's like probably the only exception to this rule: Paranoia Agent. Because there is like next to nothing for dialogue in Paranoia Agent.
They have it, but that's a mixed bag.
It is, but if you did enjoy it, that's one of the few times you get to pick without worrying about dialogue.
That show made me physically sick. I watched it at a young age.
Yeah, you do have to hold off. That show is.
I never watched it.
You never called Paranoia Agent, man.
I'll give you context. There's this one scene where this kid is studying, and the stress is so bad that what he's studying starts coming out of him. Like he has like a nosebleed, and it's actually the numbers that he's reading. On his...
Yeah, like Paranoia Agent is a visual medium.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more visual than
the day of the exam. He goes to the restroom and he's like vomiting all this material that he's read.
So it's like Twilight Zone for anime.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's they die from normal things, but they're paranoid, which is they see this common thing as death, really. This kid with the bat and the rollerblades.
Yeah.
Well, what
a kid with a bent bat on? Yeah, but whatever. Continuing on.
What anime would you say checks marks off everything for you?
Okay. I had some examples. I forgot them. I'm so unprofessional today. We're just gonna freeball it.
Hey, that's what we do on the Geek Branch podcast.
We should all throw out one that we have with things that that meets all the criteria.
Can you guess what I'm gonna say?
It has to be an anime.
It ain't Naruto.
What? No, I think you could say Naruto. Yeah.
I was being sarcastic.
I mean, I think that maybe Naruto might falter on the power scaling, but only there.
I'm
okay.
messing with Matt.
So with Naruto, it kind of falters for me in a little bit as far as dialogue, because it can be there's a moment when it's too much.
Expository.
Yeah, it's just too much dialogue.
Explaining Naruto's backstory.
Yeah, repeating things
Yeah.
The
over and
swing.
over and over again.
Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it.
That was
You know, he
just
doesn't
English
actually
thing.
say that as often.
Yeah, I know, but it's become a parody. That's the thing that people think of.
Date bio.
True.
Yeah.
But I think as far as the powers, the lore, the world building, the character interactions, especially the character interactions, are what makes it check off everything on that list.
Okay, so he goes with Naruto. Devontae, I know you have to have one thing that does it.
I'm a cheat. Like, this anime hasn't came out yet, but I've been reading the manga and it is mind blowing. I'm gonna go with Plunderer.
Yeah, he's really been
Hype on that.
for
Man.
See,
a while.
I watched that the first 2 episodes.
Remember when we tried to live stream that?
Yeah,
So
and it failed horribly.
Yeah.
what happened in the thing that Dane was talking about, like the thing that he said, like everything he said that he wanted in the first episode, they give that to you in the second volume of the manga, like flat out. Everything.
So you just have to wait a while for all the explanations.
It's like they throw you into it and then they like take you out and they're like, okay,
Here's
this is
your
how you got
exposition.
there.
No, you get the title crawl after the first 15 minutes of the movie. I got you.
Yeah, but everything from the powers, the world. I thought it was an isekai. It wasn't an isekai. I was confused about that.
I don't know how you could have thought it was an isekai.
It's a lot of okay.
Like, I'm just saying,
Without
though,
spoiling too much, they go back to the past, and I thought it was actually another world. But the fantasy world that they are in is actually the real world after like a world war.
I have another
Oh.
example too, because I just thought about it. Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer's great.
That's A1.
You know, we didn't even mention that last week. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is. But it's really rare in that, like, the anime kind of failed to take. So that's probably the reason why it didn't come up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it was kind
That's
of
why.
I could see it being a little more brutal than what people were expecting.
We had one particular friend that like let everybody know how much he loved Goblin Slayer. I'm talking about you, Evans. Evans loves Goblin Slayer, and he will let the world know.
Because I gave Evans the manga.
Yeah,
And then we
he
became,
fell in love with it.
Yeah, we became friends over that. But see, the thing about Goblin Slayer, especially with the manga, is that you could understand it easier because there are a few things about Goblin Slayer that really irritate you. One, no one has names. They have job titles.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is super annoying. I just like literally lizard priest, no, sorry, lizard shaman, priestess the girl, goblin slayer's goblin slayer. There's like dwarf fighter,
Sword Maiden.
yeah, sword maiden. They're literally all just titles, not names.
But they don't live
But like
long.
that makes sense though when you like to a degree that makes sense because when you watch it and people are getting brutally eviscerated.
I guess it's just to keep you detached enough from characters to make sure you don't get overblown by how many times these characters bite it.
like even the girl that he grew up with is just farmer girl or
Yeah.
something like that. Like none of the interpersonal relationships that he has, nobody has a name.
Right. But then you have, it's really weird because it throws you off. There's still familiar relationships though, because he refers to his sister as sister. She doesn't have a job title. It's one of the strangest things. But anywho, I continue on. Goblin Slayer was weird on dialogue and on world building.
I know which one Dane will pick. Kill a Kill. Just kidding.
Kill yourself.
He hates Kill a Kill. He hates Kill a
Damn,
Kill.
son.
All right. So yes, Plunderer for you. What you got?
Me?
Yeah, you. Everybody got to throw out one.
I threw out
Hits
two.
hits all five. Yes, you did.
Okay, so I'll do two. I think one that I'll point out is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
Not original Full Metal Alchemist.
No. We don't talk about the original.
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There were a lot. The world building was great in that one.
It was.
Great character interaction. You can't help but love the brothers.
And the power scaling was always fair.
Yeah,
Thank
it was fair.
God.
Yeah, in the remake, that was more. It was essentially more like the manga, unlike the other one that decided to go its own route because the manga wasn't done yet. This one was a lot more fair in that, and it gave you a proper ending to the series.
I mean, I love the power scaling for Full Metal Alchemist because either it was a very creative use of powers that were always in the system. Like, for instance, with Scar, his religion doesn't allow them to use alchemy to create things. And then he thought about it and he's just like, we can't use alchemy to create. But if I break everything that moves, it qualifies. And
Yes.
he just starts bricking everything.
Just destabilizing everything.
Right. So Scar is like took the cake for me as far as like unique uses of a power that's common in the world. Right. And then there were like obvious weaknesses, for instance, like Mustang. No matter how hard he snaps his finger, if it's a torrential downpour outside, he
Don't
ain't
work.
creating fire.
Yeah. He's the worst when it comes to if rain's going on.
Right. So I'm like, this is good.
It's just like the Lion Sin of Pride. You don't want he can't do anything unless the sun's up.
Oh no, Nationalizer gets retarded.
Yeah.
Do not compare the two. Nationalizer.
Don't even get me started on how I haven't watched it yet, but the new season is apparently a catastrophe for Seven
Wait,
Deadly Sins.
Is it out? Because I've been.
It's in
looking for it.
Japan.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's really
you just gotta
bad.
go watch it subbed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Netflix
so-
is the one that has the rights to the U.S. distribution. That's why I haven't
So-
seen it yet.
Okay. Full Max Brotherhood check mark. What's your second one?
Mobile Suit Gundam, OG Mobile Suit Gundam. It had hard rules and they kept to it.
That's fine, except the Gundam was always infinitely better than everything else.
Exactly, but that was part of the rule because of the material that was made from.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but the Gundam was always like, what challenges the Gundam? The Gundam or 100 Zaku?
Because
The
because at
Gundam,
the end of the
100
day,
Zaku.
it was the faulty part of the Gundam was the pilot, not the Gundam.
Yeah, the mech was always God. So yeah.
Yes,
The more I think about it, the more examples I'm coming up with. Like
Yeah.
Blue Exorcist.
but yes, Blue Exorcist is great. With Mobile Suit Gundam, the dialogue was very important, seeing how you had a bunch of rookies essentially running a giant battleship in the sky trying to survive because they had a Gundam on their ship. And there was a lot of drama. It was kind of like a soap opera of its days. And it was actually set up to
Oh,
fail.
It was literally just a space opera.
It was a space opera, and it was set up. It was supposed to not continue after the first season because the toys didn't sell at first because the first toys weren't made by the ones that the company that makes it now, which I'm sure they just call it Gundam now.
Yeah, at this point, that's all
yeah.
that they're really actually known for.
Right. There was another toy company that had made toys, and they weren't like the ones where you build yourself. They looked like garbage, and so the first season failed because it was during the days of big mechas, and then now it's the standout of all mechas. And then there's Eureka 7.
There you go. Oh, you my God. You almost got caught, Tim, but
I
you
know.
saved yourself. I love you, man. That's good.
Eureka 7, you know it.
All right, so we're good. So for me, and Tim has also just said the name of my choice, Eureka 7, because Eureka 7 hits all of these notes. All of these notes, man.
Space opera, love story.
Unique world, amazing character interaction. The power scaling is verbatim. It is just simple as all can be because it's mechs. You can't get more concrete than mechs. You know exactly how much power you're putting out because it's a robot. But so, dude, Eureka 7 just takes the cake for me, just wholesale. Right. And so I think that for all the points that we mentioned, the premise is amazing because who couldn't relate? This is a kid who wants to go out and actually meet his stars, the people that he worships in this magazine called Rayout. And for all intents and purposes, he's just a normal middle school to high school age kid who wants to go out there and follow in the footsteps of these people who he really admires. And then he gets to meet them and he realizes, well, they are all they're cracked up to be, but being that amazing comes at a price.
Right.
Some of these people aren't good people. Some of these people have really big character flaws, and it kind of, breaks the illusion for him. And he gets to go out and continue to live his life, all the while meeting one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen, which is a blank slate alien.
Yep.
Eureka 7 actually kind of reminds me of Eureka for the main female lead kind of reminds me of what you would think of as an AI, a robot, like Chobits.
She acts
Yeah.
like an AI at the beginning.
Yeah, because she's a blank slate that the alien world that they're on has spat out with the hopes of learning about humanity and being able to communicate with them. The problem is that she also gets to pilot the best mech in the series because
Right.
it's literally made by the planet for her. called the Nirvash. And because of that, the people who take her aren't, normal human beings living their day-to-day human life. It's the military.
Of course.
So she comes out like freaking the Terminator. She's like little girl Terminator in a giant robot.
And she learns to care and love through the main character.
She came across your everyday man. Literally, he's like Spider-Man. He's literally your everyday man become hero.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Peter Parker is
every great story starts with a teenage boy that grows to greatness.
Right. You know what I'm saying? He's also like Luke. He's just going out into this world that he doesn't understand.
Most famous stories, if you think about it, it deals with a teenager, growing into some form of responsibility, form of powers.
Well, he's just specifically referring to coming of age stories.
Yes, coming of age stories, yeah.
But they weren't actually all that popular back in the day. Most of the old stories involved full-grown men.
But now coming of age is
the
much
main
bigger,
thing
yeah.
Here, yeah. Because Harry Potter decided to cement that in stone. But regardless, that's my suggestion.
Percy Jackson would have helped if
it was around back then. But my point being is
Percy Jackson was around the same time actually, but the movies were hot garbage.
Aragon.
Yeah,
Aragon. But I'm saying like when you talk about what stuck coming of age into everyone's mind is like the best teen format is just Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I was gonna go with Star Wars, but
Star Wars helps. Spider-Man.
Star Wars definitely is directly up there, but the problem is that
it's not just a coming of age story
because it doesn't just focus on Luke. It splits its focus between the grown-up rogue and the grown-up princess who's actually the same age as Luke, but you don't know that.
Yeah, because she acts like she's all grown up.
Yeah, that's my point. So because it splits between those three characters rather than being every one of the characters coming of age, which is Ron, Hermione, and Harry, it's not a full coming of age story.
I gotcha.
You see? Yeah. So Harry Potter's the one that's really the definitive stuck with it.
Do you have one more anime that you would point out? Cowboy Bebop.
One more. Nah, man.
Cowboy Bebop is.
You gotta let Cowboy Bebop rest, man.
Because
it's God tier though.
There'll never be anything as good as Cowboy Bebop. Yeah. I stand by that statement.
It is definitely one of the best of all time.
Yeah. How did I not mention
Trigun?
Fooly Cooley is like what Matt loves forever and always.
Well, it definitely checks off some of those lists, but there's no such thing as power scaling in Fooly Cooley.
Also, the dialogue is
0 to 100.
Also, the dialogue is off the wall.
Dude, the dialogue's really
creative.
Yeah, it's creative.
It brings up the points of the series to bear, but it's really subtle too. You have to know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
like our average viewer would be so totally lost watching Fooly Cooley.
Because I go back and I rewatch it every 6 months, and I pick up something new every time, and the dialogue is just fresh.
Right.
That anime was ahead of its time.
A lot of the themes of the series can be picked up in Mamimi's conversation with the main character when she's talking about her relationship with his brother.
Older brother.
Yeah.
Baseball player.
Once you kind of pay attention to what she's saying and how he's responding, you'll really get some of the actual themes of the series across way more than you get with other characters.
When she's draping her arms over him and she's nuzzling his cheek and she's calling him Takun and there's a lot more adult elements there, in reflection from his brother that she's pushing onto him that you didn't see before.
And the cat is always there. And she named the cat Takun too.
Yeah. She's missing. She's starved for that affection that she used to have and doesn't have anymore. But Mamimi is one of my favorite characters, and so is the class president.
Oh, Nina Mori.
Yeah, Nina Mori, class president. Those two are actually my favorite characters in Fooly Cooley. Which I know a lot of people are why? Because they're not exactly the star characters, but they express the themes of the series better than most anyone else.
The side characters really make that anime, because without them, you wouldn't get the development. Because Naota's a wet sponge.
Yeah, he is a blank character.
There's nothing going on. He even starts, nothing special ever happens here. And what makes that series so good is because you have other people. You got him bouncing off of other people, but other people also bouncing off of him. The greatest things about Naota are the people that are around him.
Yeah, because he is the self-insert character. That's what he is. He's a self-insert character. Yeah. He's kind of a blank slate. So I think that the animes that we did list off do perfectly list to those 5 things. And they're also just excellent recommendations if people have not had the opportunity to go and see any of these. Hit every anime that we just mentioned because they're all great.
Fooly Cooly is 6 episodes, and you'll never forget it.
Right.
The original Mobile Suit, though, I would recommend for someone because of its age. I would watch the movies
Hey,
that shorten it.
Sometimes you just need to go back and deal with some of the old fashioned graphics. I mean, some things are just old.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying some people might prefer watching the movies that shorten the series.
Cool, true, but
Yeah.
like, see, for me, right? I recommend Trigun to people on a daily basis. Trigun's old.
Yeah, Trigon's great.
I recommend Vampire Hunter D, and Vampire Hunter D is ancient.
I think
It looks so
Trigun
good.
was the.
It
I
looks
know,
so good,
right,
though.
right, but it's ancient though.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
I think Trigun was the start of
Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah, Johnny Young Bosch's voice acting career.
Another good one that gets overlooked is Black Cat.
Black Cat's great.
Oh,
and It
yeah.
is overlooked, and yet it still remains in people's minds.
Jingo,
Oh,
Jingo the Bandit King.
Jing the King of Bandits.
Yeah, Jing the King.
That
of
was the
Bandits.
first manga I ever read.
Yeah, that's just some old classics there. People need to roll back.
There
and catch.
actually is an anime of it. They didn't finish the manga series, but there was a like 13 episodes or something.
Fooly Cooly was the first manga I read.
You're on point, my boy.
My
But,
second one with Chobits.
My favorite
Oh
one.
man.
I know,
I know,
right?
right? You jumped.
I
into
went.
the...
I went from Jing the King of Bandits to Chobits. I really,
My first one was actually Digimon Adventure.
Really?
That's cool.
My first one was actually Digimon Adventure.
to read.
Yeah, my first manga that I actually
Yeah.
physically owned because someone got it for me. So it was Digimon Adventure.
I actually prefer
Uh,
Digimon over Pokemon.
I went
Me too.
I'm a pro Digimon fan.
Fooly Cooly, One Piece. Then what was it?
I actually wouldn't recommend One Piece for like something that you should look for all these elements in, on the simple fact that One Piece is very scattered. It does hit these elements, but it's like over a span of
That
time.
anime is like it's like asking somebody to go watch Case Closed.
It's like you like
You know?
with this list, you can apply this list to the 3-episode rule, which is like the unofficial rule. Like everybody just does 3 episodes. Like nobody, it just happens. We just do 3
Yeah,
episodes.
and then if you
So-
like it, you keep going.
Yeah, you can apply this list to that, but you can't do that with One Piece because it's very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're willing to watch like 700 plus
No,
episodes,
well, in order to see if One Piece even qualifies for this, you have to get to Usopp.
Vampire Night.
Vampire Knight was really popular when it came out.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, in order to actually catch this for One Piece, you have to literally get to Usopp, and that's like,
That's a whole arc.
Yeah,
That's 60
right.
episodes.
Right.
2 arcs, isn't it?
I hate
Well,
It's
Usopp.
60 episodes.
because it's. I think the order of crew isn't it?
Zoro, Nami,
Me, and then Usopp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So until you get to Usopp, does One Piece get all of these hit all of these notes?
I hate Usopp because I'm an Usopp.
Yeah.
Get out of here, Tim.
I mean, it's okay that you hate what you are, but anyway. So here's my thing,
Do
right?
you like Usopp?
I do.
I do not.
I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me because like he
Yeah, I
Kinda
eventually.
comes into his own.
I hate him for a long time, and then I'm cool with him
I
later.
ignored him. I didn't care about Usopp. I started to actually hate him at the funeral of the Going Merry. That irritated me to no end.
Brooks is the best.
I'm just saying, like,
You
look,
know when I fell in love with Usopp? It was during the Dressrosa arc, and Usopp has to make a sniper shot. Like he actually
all
has
the
to
way
do his
across the
role.
island. Yeah, he gets his one job.
And there's a walking target. There's wind, and they're walking by pillars, and he has to shoot this person in the head.
From like at least
He gets
3 or 4
he gets
miles
better.
out.
I
Which
just
He
don't like
actually
him at
uses
first.
high key there in that scene too, which
Yeah.
was just super cool.
And you realize that this is the character his dad has always been in the series, because his
Exactly.
dad is exactly this. His dad is a character that you only see like 2 or 3 times, and I think he's a part of Monkey D. Dragon's crew.
No, he's with Shanks.
He's with Shank's crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
that's even scarier.
yeah, Yasop.
But yeah. He has this long sniper rifle, like ridiculously
He wields it with one hand.
head. Right. It's like Mihawk's sword length sniper rifle, and he's been capping people like this his entire career. And finally, after 1,000 episodes, his son catches up.
But he's better because Usopp did it with a slingshot.
I guess.
A
We
slingshot,
haven't actually
bro.
ever seen his father fight.
A slingshot.
I'm saying that Usopp maybe has like a maximum range of 2 miles. His father probably can hit at 10. His father
He
probably
has
is.
to. If
His
he's
father is
rolling with
ridiculous.
Shanks,
Yeah, I
he
know,
has
right?
to.
And he doesn't have any powers. He only has a rifle, so I can only assume that he's the Mihawk of sniper rifles. That is what I think of when I think of Usopp's father.
Yeah, they showed up to Marine Ford and they're like, "Y'all got to stop, or else y'all got to fight us." And
Right.
Yeah, and
everybody
then they're like,
stopped.
Because no one had enough reinforcements at that point to deal with Shanks and his crew.
It was 9 people.
I know, but no one had enough people.
But
left.
everybody knows how powerful his crew is.
But it doesn't matter. The problem was that Marine Fort burnt the resources of everyone.
Yeah.
Like Akainu was out, all of the admirals were done, even Sengoku the Buddha wasn't
Yeah, if
willing
you
to
want to
fight
see
anymore.
one of the best fights in One Piece, that's it right there.
Marine
That's one of
Fort
the
arc
best,
is
yeah.
the best arc
Yeah.
in One Piece. Fight me.
You know what's funny about that arc? That
Love
arc,
that arc.
Is actually like 3 hours. 'Cause
Yeah, it's short.
I watched it in one night, and it was like 75 episodes, I think. But each episode is 15 minutes of recap.
Yes.
7 minutes of episode, and then
No.
3 minutes of like
Have you-
something else at the end.
Have you been on YouTube where someone's cut it into a 2-hour movie? Someone's cut Marine Forward into a 2-hour
It's
movie.
real like 3 hours long. And I'm like, wow.
Marine Forward is still the best One Piece arc, but regardless, that also proves that One Piece is like 40% filler.
It is. It's like how Bleach used to be.
Oh
No,
yeah.
it's not like Bleach.
Bleach had a lot of filler.
Bleach,
But-
the sad flashbacks with Rain.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, all Bleach should have ended that Soul Society arc. Fight me.
Yeah. Anyways, Devontae, did you have any more to say about how you should choose what anime to watch?
Oh yeah, that 3 episode rule, and like, look, man,
Look for those 5 points.
there's like 20 shows that come out every season. That's like 3 months.
That
like,
we
Well,
get to see
yeah,
in
that's,
America.
That's only in America. If you're a guy who like me who goes to Japan, you're looking at like 5 times that amount.
just look for these things that we're telling you, and like give it like 3 episodes. Usually that first episode is going to hit everything just a tad bit. You get the world building, you get the character design, you get the premise, you get the character interactions, and then you get to see like a little bit of the power balance, the
Yeah.
power scale. And you get to episode 3, that's when it takes off. So like if it's not hitting on the first 2 episodes, that last episode better hit, or you can just skip to the next series, man. Like, we don't have time in 2020. We trying to watch
Yeah.
all the good stuff.
And that's why we got the Somali forced thing like a week before even Japan, so we can get that feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with these movies. Don't be fooled by these movies, man. Because I watched Fireworks and I was underwhelmed.
Fireworks.
Fireworks was not as amazing as it could have
I
been.
was underwhelmed.
Look, we had gotten spoiled. No offense. We had between like Your Name, you know, and all that.
Silent voice.
Yeah, and
March
all-
comes in like a lion.
I know, right? And so we had
Fox and the boy or whatever it's called, the
Oh,
Beast and the
Beast
boy.
and the Boy.
Yeah,
I like
was
that
a
one.
really good one.
Yeah.
We had gotten spoiled.
We've
and
gotten
so,
some really good ones.
And so then another one comes out and it looks like it should be because the animation quality's there, but the story was not.
Well, I hear that Weathering with You is not as good as Your Name, but it's still pretty good. So I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, I want to check that out too.
Has it released yet?
I think they
not
actually
in
did
English,
have
I don't think.
special showings.
yeah,
at,
but it was just it wasn't the full movie.
they didn't.
Mm. It's not
You're
the
right.
full
You're
movie.
right. It was like a prequel episode.
Yeah, like a fan screening is what they called it. Preview fan screening. So it's not over in America yet, but we'll get it.
As
Right.
we all will.
Yes. So nothing else you want to point out?
Nah, man, just 3 episodes. That's it. Like, I don't want to hear about none of these trash animes getting hyped up. Like, I swear to God, like every season, there's one show that gets super hyped that's not that good.
Which one would you say that is for this season?
This season,
Whatever one that Cussler wants to watch.
Oh God, that one's not even hyped unless you're a weeb.
I don't know, because we had a lot of good ones this season.
We don't want to talk about that one.
We did have a lot of good ones. If I had to say, I hate to say it would have been Black Clover. Black Clover was super slow until about 2 arcs in, which
Yeah,
the
and then
second arc
they
with
really
the-
started speeding
yeah.
things up
yeah,
when they attacked the Clover Kingdom.
yeah.
That's
And
when
it
things
was
started
hype.
speeding up.
I'm not gonna lie, because like I read the manga, that's why I was hyped. But like for somebody that's new that's coming in, like this show probably looked totally ass, and I'm not even gonna blame you.
Terrell asked me if I'm like a big Black Clover fan because it gets mentioned at least like once a video now, and I was not the one that mentioned it this time.
Look, let me tell you the reason why it comes up so often. because that anime is generic. Like that to me is like the
Should that be the one that's hated more than Sword Art Online now?
well, Sword Art
No.
Online wasn't.
No.
No. Sword Art Online was not generic. It was relatively unique. And
The
how
protagonist is generic.
Look, I've seen Dot Hack. Okay.
Well, no. You gotta hold off here. You gotta remember that at the beginning of Sword Art, it was nothing like Dot Hack.
And
Dot
then
Hack
it became
true.
Dot Hack.
Yeah. So it became Dot Hack. Like they failed to deliver on the amazing episode 1 that was Sword Art
which
Online.
Dot Hack is a great series.
To be completely honest, I like Log Horizon more than Sword Art Online.
Most people do.
They
Most
could
people
have.
do.
They
Yeah.
could have stopped Sword Art like after season 1.
Although we
Yeah.
did see that clip recently and it had us
Yeah, that was
interested and
pretty
watch the new
interesting.
series.
What?
New
Oh,
season.
Alicization
Yeah.
is actually recommendable.
Okay.
Literally, this is how Sword Art should be. This is for anyone who wants to watch Sword Art who hasn't caught it. Watch season 1, watch the movie, and then watch Alicization.
What he considers season 1. He considers that the second half of season 1 to be season 2.
If you lead Sword Art Online, the season has ended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No. I totally agree because when they go to Alfheim or whatever, that was garbage.
Yeah, that's my
he
point. That's
considers
season
that-
2.
he
I
considers
consider
that season 2.
2.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. How he said that's the separate
I
season.
hated everything about that. Like
It defeats the entire purpose of the first season.
it does.
And the creepy guy that's supposed to marry.
A rapist.
Yeah.
Just the villain's a rapist.
Yeah.
God, what anime are y'all?
Sword Art Online.
I never even tempted after that first season.
What?
That's part of the first season.
Yeah.
Wait. When did you stop?
Episode 3.
Really? Wait, you did not find episode 1 to be really cool? Because episode 1
It was all right. I was
Okay.
interested, but then like as I watched, I was like, yeah, I think I know where this is going.
You didn't get hyped up with that dual wielding scene like at all.
No.
That shit was cool as hell.
Like I watched Sword Art after coming off of like the height of Unlimited Blade Works. So that was kind of
Hey,
like
I just finished that. I could see why you would be.
it was like a turn off. Like
Yeah.
I went from up here to like down here.
Although
Nah.
I must say, after watching that one and the Fate Zero, actually like Fate Zero better. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man.
Well,
it
they
made more
just
sense.
they underplayed all the rest of the characters way too much in Unlimited Blade Works.
It
Like they
was-
focused way too much on the two characters, which it's their story. I get it, but
Yeah.
still, I enjoyed having more fleshed out storylines for the rest of what the prequel to Unlimited Blade Works.
Yeah, Fate Zero is
Like you never saw like them mention the fact that Reen and her sister are sisters. Like there's one tiny little hint about it, but they never really like mention it. Or the fact that what's his name? The main character, what's his first name?
Emiya
Emiya's his last
Shiro.
Shiro. So Shiro, they never once mentioned the fact that his dad was part of the Holy Grail War, the previous Holy Grail War. He just knows that he was saved by his dad after the Holy Grail War. They never once mentioned that Saber was the servant to his dad or anything, and she knows, like, because she finds out his name and she's like, oh, and she knows who he is, but never mentions it. And there's a lot of fulfillment that they missed out on, in my opinion.
Which also, by the way, is probably one of the main reasons why he was able to get Saber. Because originally,
That is why
you know what I'm saying. Yeah, but originally, when it comes to summoning servants,
you have to have a relic.
you have to have a relic or you have to have a connection.
Yeah.
So some
And
people
she had both.
Yeah, but regardless, just to hold out here, I don't like the Fate series,
I know you don't.
and it's not because the animes are bad. The animes are actually really good.
The animation's really good.
and the fights are really cool too.
Well, it's because it's ufotable for a lot of them.
Yeah. But I played the visual novels, and that's where I got in on Fate, and that's where I also left.
Yeah.
Fate.
Well, that's because you played the visual novel.
Which the visual novel is actually really interesting outside of the fact that it's a visual novel. So there's it goes back and tells you some of the things that were not redubbed, like for instance the way that you get mana
Yeah.
to your servant.
Yeah.
Is a little bit more complex in the visual novel.
Complex.
Requires a little bit more explanation in the visual novel.
Whoa there.
I'm just saying, like,
Like when they have to transfer their the energy from each other, and the anime is
mana.
very different from the
Yeah.
visual novel.
quite.
Yeah.
It started out as hentai.
Yeah. And I
Not really.
now it started out
It's
as a visual
very-
novel, which
and
is
visual-
borderline.
No, visual novels just tend to have full content, which includes sex scenes between characters.
Oh, that's what I said.
But
Borderline.
like, what I'm saying is that like 80% of that content has nothing to do with that. That's something that gets like oversold. There are specific visual novels for that.
Yeah.
And then
And
there's
Fate's
the rest
not-
of the
yeah.
then there's the rest of the market.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. There are literally like specific games for that, and then there's the rest of the market.
I just wanted to point out that I preferred Zero over Unlimited Blade Works, even though the animation was fantastic in both. Yeah, I just like the story much better.
Yeah. But yeah, 2020. Like, you don't want to be that guy that missed out on a good show and then you got to catch up next season and you miss out on more shows.
Yeah, don't be that guy that just watches the
Now
fake
you're like
shows.
my friend Matt over here, and people can't talk about stuff in front of you because you ain't watched it yet.
Yeah, like he probably isn't caught up on Boruto or Fire Force
Hey,
or
you think you got it bad, right? But I can't talk to anybody
because he's the guy that read the light novel
I'm just
5
saying,
years ago.
or the series is so old, but no one caught any attention to it until it got an anime. So I'm like Vinland
Yeah.
Saga. Everyone's watching Vinland Saga. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been here for years.
Well, not a lot of people are watching it because it's on Amazon Prime.
But regardless, like Vinland Saga just got popular, and I'm like, I can't.
Can we also just take a moment and recognize how, like, and I said this in the chat, how Amazon Prime is just hitting that stride right now. Like, they're really hitting out some great shows right now.
Vinland Saga this season. I don't know what the hell you were watching. Like, you were probably watching My Hero or some shit.
Hey,
But Vinland Saga was really good.
don't be hating on My Hero.
No, I'm just saying, man. Like,
I got what I wanted out of My Hero and I dropped it.
There's more than
You read the
superpowers.
manga though.
Yeah.
And see, that's exactly my point. The point that I think I made, I think it was last week, because you already read it. You have no reason to watch it, right? In your opinion. And that's what I was telling Cusley.
Except to see animations of fights.
Right,
yeah,
Because-
right.
Exactly.
Because
But,
I came back to watch Best Jeunesse get his
right.
beat.
But that's exactly why I don't read the manga, because I would be the same way. I would stop watching the anime because I already know what happens.
But there's
Well,
more
that's-
content in the manga, though.
That's exactly what I did to myself with Demon Slayers. I sat there and I watched like the first 2 episodes and I went, holy shit. And then I went and ate up the entire manga in a single sitting and then went back and started watching the episodes. And I was like, that's out of order. That's not how
See,
that's supposed
that's
to be.
what happens.
Exactly. That is exactly why I just watch the anime
But-
to enjoy it
but-
in its pure form.
Yeah, that's fine. But animes can just kill something and then they're not worth watching to begin with. Like Arfietta. Not, well, no, was it? Is it Arfietta?
Yeah, Arfietta's fucked up too.
Where the anime is completely just wrecked. Like
CG, man. Don't
yeah.
even get me
Okay,
started.
so it is Arfietta. So I sat there and I'm just like, I read the light novel when the light novel first dropped in like 2003. So that's how old that series is, by the way. Arfietta, I think, is 2003.
Right.
And so they finally make an anime of it. And I sit there and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. And they just ruin everything. Just ruin everything.
Well,
Everything's out of order. Nothing makes sense. They skip the opening, literally has the most important parts of the story, like the magic system and why he's a transmutation specialist and how that sucks. Well, he's a synthesis. It just blazes over all of it in like 10 seconds, and it's horrible.
I'm surprised you didn't recommend Assassin's Pride.
Nah, it kind of
Did
fell
it-
to the
did it-
wayside after a while. It was, I don't want to say generic. It was actually pretty unique, but it didn't hold up to some of the other stuff this season.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, I think we maybe end
Yeah.
the topic now.
Yeah, that's about it. Like,
I was gonna let Devontae end it off.
don't be that guy, because like I'm really upset I can't talk about stuff with Matt because he's like 5 seasons behind because he watched some bullshit. So
Look, there's a lot for me to watch. Like I'm behind on like quite a bit of stuff. As it
Yeah,
is.
me and
There's just
him
a
have the
lot
same
to
deal.
watch right now.
And-
I've been
Perf-
trying to watch a lot. I've been catching up to a
I'm
lot.
trying to think like what came out at the same time as Darling in the Franks.
Ugh.
I'm
I
I
didn't
haven't even
finish that.
finished Darling in the
Don't
Franxx.
finish it. Save
there
your
was
lot-
something
save-
good that was
save-
going on at the same
Save
time.
yourself some time. Don't
And
finish
he
that.
decided to watch Darling in the Franks instead
gets-
of this wholesome.
The first few episodes are good, and then it just goes downhill after that.
The ending was horrible.
You don't want to watch it.
It's just
Watch
like,
something else.
There's like okay, so echoing way back
Go
to
watch
the
Your Lie in
beginning of
April.
Made a
the
mistake.
Geek branch. There's just so much between all these streaming services and like
That's
it's
what
just a
that's what
lot.
this is
Yeah, and
for.
we try to keep up with it.
It's
To
for
help people.
cutting
Yeah.
through the chaff. But Darling in the Franks was the death of Mecca. That's all I have to say about it.
Damn.
It was. Darling in the Franxx killed the mecha genre. It doesn't
It's
exist
awful.
anymore.
Yeah, no one.
It
wants-
does. It
no one,
does not
no,
exist
no
anymore.
one is making a mecha anime that I can think of right now.
Yep. Darling in the Franxx has literally just murdered the mecha anime. Just that genre's gone.
Yeah, it'll come back
What was one
eventually.
that was worse? It was
Mobile Suit Gundam will always have its shows.
Yeah, but they're like niche at this point.
Oh, speaking of that, they announced they're finally making a movie to the sequel to Char's Counterattack.
Oh,
Yeah, they
That's
said
nice.
it was not going to be able to be done.
and
Something to do,
yet here it is.
and here it is.
Yeah, but like I said, Mobile Suit Gundam
Because
at
it was
this
a
point
novel,
is-
it wasn't actually like a manga or anything like
and
that.
they finally
Yeah.
got up
Yeah.
to Burris to adopt it. Yeah, I actually read it, so we're good to go. That's nice that actually has occurred.
Anyways,
But, ladies and gentlemen, that is all for the Annie Flex segment. Tim, you want to take us out? Because I don't do the Geek Branch thing like you do.
right, as I always say, Hey, you did it.
Annie
But
Flex.
he did it. As I always say, thank you for letting us get to the root of our geek culture with you.